My name's Christian, and right now I'm building my dream villa here in Bali, Indonesia. And just 90 days ago, this was a forest, a jungle full of mosquitoes. Literally, I'd walk in and I'd have 6 mosquitoes sucking my arm. Over the next 12 months of construction, I'm gonna be sharing with you the pros, the cons, the challenges, and the amazing moments of building here in Bali. But 90 days in, I have to say, it's time to share with you one of the amazing successes. Let me give you a little tour of the Lost Villa, a luxury villa built into a jungle. This place is an absolute jungle. All of Canggu is rice fields. It's beautiful until your next door neighbor builds their villa with a 3-story building right next door. What I loved about this land is the amount of tall trees that will forever give me privacy. And so I actually got a pretty expansive piece of land to keep that private feeling. This is basically chapter 2 of our journey. We have the house design, we have the engineering, but now it's time to turn a drawing into reality, and it all starts tomorrow. I think I'm ready for it. I think. And here we are, the beginning of a brand new chapter. In a matter of like 5 hours, they've basically chopped it all down. Now don't worry, as I said, the goal of this project is to keep as much of these trees as possible. But in order to get this project started, we do have to remove, sadly, a lot of these bushes. Now, as soon as I got to the construction site, I went to the contractor, I'm like, tell me, did you see any snakes? There was 2 snakes, and I asked what kind. They were green snakes. It is the most dangerous, the most toxic snake on this island. Sadly, those are not animals I can coexist with on this property. So that right there is the head and body of a small one, and this is the body of a big one. Kind of grim, but I want to share the whole process of this build. How are you today? Good. So in the next couple of days, Mendra and his team are going to be placing rope to basically create the outline of what will be built up. So that's when we'll be able to tell which of these trees are able to stay, which of them fall on top of the construction. I'm really hoping that we can keep most of it. This is definitely one of the most distinct parts of this property. I'm gonna have to pump the brakes on some of this development if we don't have enough of the trees being protected and kept in the design. We'll have to kind of redesign and tweak things, but then that will probably come out of my pocket, which would be really unfortunate. But it would be a crying shame to see this one go. Today is a very important meeting, and it's one I'm already off to a bad feeling about, because they have now laid out the lines of where I'm supposed to be building, and I can see a lot of the trees that were supposed to be built around have not been, so I'm nervous. I'm really nervous about this.
Do you have any idea where do you want to put?
I think it would be moved probably like right there. It can be moved?
It will be still alive, but first they're gonna be like totally gone. I mean the leaf,
Yeah.
the trunk, as much as possible we need to trim it so it's gonna be a
Higher chance of living.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of research recently on uprooting mature plants, trees, and replanting them. I'm willing to pay for it, but imagine taking a tree as beautiful as this and there being about a 50-40% chance it dies. The next best option is that once the architects get here, they're on their way, we can find a way to reposition the current build to hopefully allow for these trees to exist where they are, because even if you move them, you got to cut out some limbs because it won't survive. And this tree will lose a large bit of its canopy, and there's no telling how quickly it'll come back. All right, now that is new. I have 2 parcels of land. I've got the upper and the lower land is where I'm going to be building my next project. More on that to come soon. The lower land is actually going to be temporarily used as the place where the workers are gonna live. Wow, it is coming along so fast. Okay, so we're still in our meeting, but I have to say I'm feeling so much better. Now the hard part, gotta spray paint the ones that sadly do not fit into the master plan. This is low-key the saddest thing I've had to do in my life. Today is a very exciting day, and it's actually a first for me. We're going to be doing a Balinese blessing ceremony on my land. And this is one of the things that you'll get to know as you spend more time in Bali. It's that they have a lot of rituals, and so out of pure respect, wanting to become essentially as close to a local as I can possibly be, we're going to be hosting it today on the land, and I'm really excited to see what it's like. I have no idea what to expect. This is really exciting. So when you go to a ceremony, you want to dress the part, and this is what I wore when I went to a tooth filing ceremony. The priest has come in and he's blessed the offering, and this is a very traditional Balinese practice. You can see here, right up there is the offering, and then from there they went and blessed the land. So they're actually taking water and spraying it around the land. So you can see here, these are like some bricks that have been wrapped and blessed.
Called in Bali is a Mulang Dasar. So we open the new area, and then the Mother Earth will giving bless. Your business is running good. The staff working here is safe, and that is the meaning of the ceremony. Okay, terima kasih.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Okay.
So the ceremony's done, and now I want to give you a little update. Because when I last told you about the land, I was kind of freaking out. I was worried that my beautiful trees might be at risk of being chopped. Luckily, my architects are legends, and what happened is, you can see here, this yellow line is where the house was supposed to be, but it was actually relatively simple. We just shifted the whole house maybe about a ½ meter, and along with one shift, we're actually making a design change. This is now going to be in the entrance of the house, inside of it, poking out of the roof. So they're gonna build like some sort of rock garden around it. I mean, I'm so stoked. In the end, we have not had to cut any serious trees. We're keeping them all, and if you come over here, when you walk in the front entrance, you see that tree. When you come to the living room, you see the courtyard, and you've got this teak. You've got that massive tree. No other property I've seen in Bali like it. This is a new progression since coming back. Right now we have the outline of the foundation for the meeting room. Basically, when we have contractors, architects, or anyone coming to visit the site, this is where we'll have our meetings. And just down the hill there, actually, they made a lot of progress on the workers' homes. So in Bali, it's very standard for big work sites that actually people will be living on the site. Fingers are crossed that we will complete this project in the estimated 12 months. I leave in 2 days. It's a bit stressful. I'm going to Europe for a month, and my friends have all told me when building, you need to be on the work site almost every day, but I think I have the team here in place to be able to manage it. So I flew in overnight from Dubai last night, and I'm definitely feeling exhausted, but there is one thing that's keeping me more excited than a good night's sleep, and that is the villa. And I am off to see all of the work that's been completed basically since I left. Haven't really seen them break ground or anything, so let's go check out the work site. I'm so excited. I have no idea what's back there. Now, before I go in there and show you where we're at, let me just give you a little recap of all that's going on, because one of my teammates has been filming here pretty much every week. Now, my goal with the series is not only just to show you the building of this villa, but how you can do it yourself. So here's a little bit of how it went. Step one was to build an access road to the land so that they could bring on the big trucks, the excavators, the bobcats, and everything else. From there, they actually started to excavate the land, basically unearthing the soil, digging deep into the surface so that we can etch out the land. And from there, we built a really nice on-site meeting room as well as a storage area where power tools and all that stuff can be kept. Now, a few weeks passed by and a second visit was made. At this point, most of the excavators were gone, but there was a little bit more land detailing being done, mostly by hand, to make sure that we had the right cutout of land for the foundation laying. From there, we started laying down rebar as well as the steel reinforcements that will keep this structure strong through earthquakes and through time. And speaking of earthquakes, there was literally a 5.21 yesterday. I ran out of the coffee shop. But luckily, nobody was hurt. That's what happens when you live on an island surrounded by volcanoes. This was the process where a lot of work was going into the steel structures. On the third visit, this is where we started to see big holes being dug beneath the surface of the earth. And that's done so that the foundation of the building will stay strong even as the earth and soil moves around it. Several days had passed, a fourth visit later, and steel structures began to be erected. But on top of that, we also started to build the perimeter wall out of stone, which is honestly going to be one of the coolest parts of the home. That full privacy 360 feeling of being cut off from the rest of the world when you're in there. We're gonna be building the Great Wall of Bali around this house, so stay tuned for that. This process might take a few more weeks. All right, the fifth visit is where things start to get a little more exciting because we actually start to see the foundations and the outline of the house created out of brick and limestone. From there, these foundations and this outline was completely filled in with concrete, giving you the sensation of standing in the floor plan of this soon-to-be luxury dream home. Now, the sixth visit is where you start to see just how much fortification goes into building a quality home. They actually tie the steel together, and these things are called lattices. Lattices are these interwoven steel structures. And that brings me to the moment where I can bring you back into the present as I return home from Dubai to my other home in the jungle. It's concrete pouring time. The moment of truth. Let's go take a look. We got the whole team out today by the looks of it. Oh my God. I'm not sure if we're building a house or a Walmart parking lot. Look at this. So what we have here, guys, is the foundation is basically nearing completion. The concrete's pretty much hardened at this point by the looks of it. Hello, boss. How are you? Good. What do you think? Am I ready to move in?
Yep.
All right, sweet. Yeah, this will do. Originally, this side right here was supposed to be the YouTube studio. It was supposed to be like a massive 60 square meter space where I'd be able to have everything from like a podcast. But admittedly, I don't know if it's gonna start off that way. So what we're doing is we're putting it intentionally where that wall in the center there can be broken down at some point at a later date to be able to open it up to that. But in the meantime, I think it's gonna be more beneficial to keep it as a fourth and a fifth bedroom rather than a YouTube studio that takes up 2 bedrooms. So this right here, it's called a tie beam. And so basically these are the structural supports between the concrete slabs. And today is a big day actually. They're now pouring concrete in between all of this to be able to finally harden this entire kind of multi-piece slab into one. You gotta love Indonesian style. Like, it doesn't matter if they're climbing a volcano with sulfur on their back or doing a construction project, they will always be barefoot or in flip-flops. The center of the home is gonna be built around like a very zen garden.
Nice.
I'm actually meeting with a pond specialist. He's gonna come take a look at this space, and we gotta figure out if we do a pond, how big could it be, where would the pump be stored. So that's the thing I'm learning with construction, is it's not just like finish the project and then do all these things. You know, you gotta find the cabinet builder. You gotta start thinking about if you're having a normal toilet or a hanging toilet in advance, because that has implications to the plumbing, which has implications to the builders right now. We went with hanging toilet, by the way. You definitely want to be supported by a good team, because if you don't have some of these things, you might get to the end of the project and they might not be able to work anymore because you didn't have it all sorted out. Now, I don't want to do too much of a tour as you hear that bub, 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 bub. It's the concrete being spun up. What you see here, that is the pool that will sit up on top of that concrete slab. Beneath it, we have the cinema and another bedroom. So like 20 minutes later, the rain has completely stopped after a good pour. Honestly, this whole construction site couldn't be moving any more quickly. It is so impressive how well the construction team's doing. For me, it's super important to show a small token of appreciation to the men here that are putting in the time. And so we have just arranged here for a lunch to be delivered. Yeah, let's go take a look. For 40 hungry dudes, we have 40 packaged meals. Let's do our first little delivery here. Lunch on me today. Thank you so much. Thank you, seriously, really, from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. So, I have a bit of an announcement. I've decided the name of the villa and the Instagram account is now live. Crazy original, right? But it felt so fitting, and when I saw the username available, I was like, no brainer. It is the Lost Villa. And speaking of which, today's a big day because we've got some vertical columns coming up, which is a really, really exciting milestone. Also, these concrete slabs are finished up, so you actually see where we're going to either be putting tile or hardwood. We still haven't quite decided on that, but really, it's taking shape in ways that as a non-builder, I'm starting to understand the layout of the house, the feel of it. Now, if you come through here, I'm gonna introduce you guys to someone. The contractor who I decided on after interviewing like 8 different people. I went on so many coffee dates, literally more dating action than I've had in my entire life. In the end, the person who I was felt the most comfortable with, and so far for the right reasons, has been this wonderful woman right here. Guys, this is Fatine. While this villa is pretty big, it's nothing compared to some of the scale of her project. Fatine is building a school.
In Singaraja, we already almost 21 years in the industry.
Wow.
Me and my husband create this company.
Basically, all the services that I needed were under one company, which has made it really, really streamlined. Today, we're going to be seeing some of the samples of materials, and we get to pick which ones we move forward with. So, where are we having our meeting?
In the site, I think.
Okay, let's do it. This project's got a lot of hands and a lot of talented people on board. We've got the design team as well as the contract team, and we've got some potential samples here. Let's take a look. So right now we're deciding on basically the textures, colors, and patterns that you'll see on the flooring if we go with tile, which is still a question mark. Materials we're looking at, this is terrazzo. It is a concrete and gypstone mix. Basically, you have the ability to choose color, you get to choose the texture. Here we've got a very fine-grained version, and then here we've got larger grains or larger stones inside. Fatine was just telling me we could also get a version that has some sort of like seashells inside of it. What are these stones for? Okay.
So your pool is using this stone andesit.
And then we'll also have this for the border around the pool. I've heard is like you can basically change the color of your pool by the tiles that you use inside the pool.
Yeah.
So what kind of pool color would this get me?
Green, but now there are many people using pebble wash or terrazzo even to the white, then it more into turquoise.
So this would be the countertop surfaces in the kitchen. It's a beautiful, beautiful, it's marble, yeah?
Marble, Carrara marble.
In terms of flooring, I think I like this color the most, a bit of a cream.
Yeah.
Don't like the reds. I'm between these two ones if I had to choose a terrazzo tile. And then in terms of, this is the stone wall.
Yeah, the stone wall.
Exterior walls. Okay, cool. You know, in terms of the design of the house, it's very much trying to find this place of like Japanese modern minimalism meets Bali's organic materials.
And this one, the cobblestone.
The idea is the driveway is going to be thousands of these stones side by sided, but you leave a little gap so grass grows in between them.
The woman who come to your house don't using the high heel.
And high heels will be a danger too, yeah. Who will maybe lose the back of their heel.
Yeah.
It's a risk I'm willing to take. And this is for the outside deck?
Yeah, outside deck.
Come to learn the different woods. There's like teak, there's bangkirai, and then there's ulin. Almost all Bali homes when they're building outside end up with a very dark, dark wood because all the lighter woods only are good for indoors. They don't really work outside. A really, really exciting start to see kind of all these colors come together. We'll see you later. Thanks so much for all your help.
Yeah.
Now I want to show you guys one thing here. Just behind this big set of beautiful forestry is a lower plot of land. It's about 16 ara, and on that land right now I've just rehired my architects to begin building between 6 to 7 units that will be built down there. They're going to be 2 to 3 bedrooms. They're going to give you an incredible plunge pool, your private garden, a feeling of being surrounded by jungle and forest, secluded kind of Ubud feel in Canggu. Now why I share this with you is because I don't need 6 or 7 units for myself. Instead, I'm going to be opening up my first ever development project. And if it's something you're curious about, if you're looking to get honestly the best return on investment, probably in the market. Look, I'm not a financial advisor, but I will say that some people are returning their investment on property in Bali in 3 to 6 years, and that's not a stretch. And so naturally, with all these amazing contractors and developers and architects that I've been meeting, I'm going to be rolling over the inspiration of this project into a much more attainable price point on the lower land here. And quite likely, we might just be neighbors. So if you're interested in being up to date with that project, to be the first informed when this project goes up for pre-sale, then you're definitely gonna want to join that email list down below. If you want to go build your own project, I'd be happy to help you too. I can gladly put you in touch with pretty much anybody that has done a great job for me so far. So just check out that link down below and I can hook you up either through WhatsApp or through email with the right people. This is how a travel vlogger becomes a property developer and a homeowner. Not just a homeowner, like literally my dream home. It's really a blessing to be able to share this with you guys. If you guys want to stay up to date with the series, there's many more to come, so hit that subscribe button. Let's get lost again in the next one.